Welcome, the Lord's chosen. They thought they cornered you, but the only thing they trapped was their own illusion. It's funny how the universe works. The moment they think they've finally figured you out, life hits the plot twist button, and suddenly, you're not the hunted. You're the upgrade they can't debug. Here's a strange fact. When stars collapse under pressure, they don't die. They transform into something so dense, so radiant, it bends reality itself. That's what's happening to you. You've hit that spiritual critical mass, where your old energy couldn't contain your new magnitude. You didn't break down, you broke through. Everything that was used to box you in only helped refine the coordinates of your next evolution. The ridicule, the rejection, the isolation, all of it was cosmic scaffolding for a power surge your enemies can't even pronounce, let alone predict. And now, the energy shift isn't subtle anymore. You're emitting a new frequency that doesn't ask for permission. It announces its arrival. Those who tried to dim you are realizing they weren't battling a person. They were wrestling with a prophecy. So buckle up, because the corner they tried to trap you in just became the launch pad of your divine escalation. And the funniest part? The same people who whispered you were done are about to need sunglasses to handle your comeback glow. Number 1. The pressure was never to break you. It was to activate dormant divinity. The pressure was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to activate something ancient inside you. Life turned up the heat not to punish you, but to unlock parts of your spirit that would have stayed asleep if everything had been easy. Every moment that felt unbearable was sacred design. It was never chaos, it was coded awakening. When your back was against the wall and you felt stripped of options, the universe wasn't testing your limits. It was rewiring your being for a level of strength that couldn't be taught through comfort. You were forced into stillness so your inner power could stop hiding behind distractions. The very weight you thought would crush you became the pressure point that triggered divine ignition. That's why you started sensing shifts within you that words couldn't describe. A sharper intuition, a louder inner voice, a deeper calm in the middle of storms. It wasn't coincidence, it was activation. You've been carrying a spiritual blueprint that only pain could decode. That's why not everyone could survive what you did, because it wasn't punishment, it was programming. The universe needed your resilience sharpened, not your spirit broken. Every heartbreak, betrayal, and delay was a calibration point, fine-tuning your awareness so you could operate on higher frequencies. The truth is, power that comes from ease doesn't last, but power born in pressure can't be undone. That's why you walk differently now. You see through people faster, you trust slower, and you protect your peace like a sacred contract. You've realized that the real test was never about endurance. It was about emergence. You're not the same person you were before the storm. The old you reacted. The new you responds. The old you doubted. The new you knows. That's what happens when the divine gets involved in your breaking point. What looks like the end is just your coded evolution unfolding in real time. The pressure didn't break you because it wasn't designed to. It was the key that unlocked a version of you built for dimensions you hadn't yet entered. That's not survival, that's activation. And now that it's switched on, nothing and no one can switch it off again. Number 2, they cornered you, forgetting that light multiplies under confinement. They cornered you thinking it would weaken you, but what they didn't realize was that light expands under pressure. The more they tried to box you in, the more your spirit grew in silence. You were never meant to fit into their expectations. Your energy was always too vast for the small space they tried to confine you to. When they isolated you, they assumed loneliness would break you. But solitude became your amplifier. It gave you time to refine, to hear your own thoughts, to reconnect with your original frequency. the one that existed before the world told you who to be. What they mistook for defeat was actually transformation in progress. Being cornered didn't trap you, it clarified you. It showed you who was real, who was pretending, and who was only comfortable when you were smaller. That's the hidden blessing of being pushed to your limits. It strips away everything fake until only the truth remains. You stopped seeking approval because you realized no amount of validation could measure your value. You discovered that silence can be louder than defense, and peace can be the strongest form of retaliation. Those who tried to limit your light didn't understand how energy works. The more they resisted you, the more momentum they gave you. Opposition became oxygen. Every attempt to suppress your shine only intensified your glow. That's the law of energy. It can't be destroyed, only redirected. The moment they closed in, you adapted, evolved, and broke through dimensions they couldn't access. What they saw as walls were really mirrors reflecting back their own limitations. Now you've become the version of yourself that pressure was sculpting all along. You're sharper, wiser, and grounded in your own essence. Their control tactics don't affect you anymore because you've learned how to generate your own power. You're no longer dependent on permission or support. Your self-sufficiency has become your superpower. They thought they trapped you in a corner, but all they did was give you the stillness needed to realize you were never trapped. You were transforming. What was meant to contain you became the space where you outgrew everything false. That's not weakness, that's divine strategy in motion. Number 3, you've crossed the threshold, where pain no longer weakens you. It refines frequency. There came a point when pain stopped breaking you and started sharpening you. What used to crush your spirit now fuels your clarity. You've crossed that invisible line where suffering no longer owns you, you own it. It's not that life stopped hurting, it's that you stopped interpreting pain as punishment. You began to see it as the universe's way of fine-tuning your frequency, stripping away illusions that once clouded your vision. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every betrayal became data, information that taught you where not to give your energy, what not to repeat, and who never deserved access to your peace in the first place. At first it felt unfair. You questioned why things had to be so heavy, why people had to betray, why endings had to sting so deep. But somewhere along the line, you realized that pain was your teacher, not your enemy. It refined your perception, humbled your ego, and deepened your understanding of yourself. It broke your dependence on validation and made you allergic to anything fake. You stopped chasing closure from others because you found peace in awareness. The same pain that once made you overreact now helps you observe quietly, knowing that wisdom doesn't shout, it watches. You became emotionally fluent. Instead of drowning in feelings, you started decoding them. That's growth, when tears stop being symbols of weakness and start becoming signals of awakening. You learned that not every loss is meant to be replaced, and not every apology is meant to be received. Sometimes pain just shows you where you outgrew your old version of self. That shift changed everything. You no longer resist discomfort because you understand it's the fire that forges spiritual strength. Now when pain visits, you don't panic. You know it's just refinement, another layer of you being polished into purpose. It doesn't hit the same because you're not the same. You've built spiritual endurance. What once made you collapse now builds your composure. The storms didn't end, you just became the calm within them. That's what true evolution looks like, when pain can still reach you, but can no longer rule you. You've become unshakable, not because life got easier, but because you got real. Number 4, their spiritual weapons backfired, because your field outgrew their dimension. The energy they aimed at you stopped landing the moment you outgrew the level it was sent from. Their words, gossip, and manipulations used to sting because you were still within range, emotionally, mentally, and energetically. But growth changed the coordinates of your spirit. You no longer vibrate on the same wavelength that feeds conflict, drama, or low-frequency intentions. Their tactics didn't suddenly become weaker. Your field simply expanded beyond their reach. What they sent can't find you anymore, because you're no longer accessible through the old version of yourself they targeted. You used to take their energy personally, trying to defend yourself or prove your innocence. But the truth is, energy doesn't respond to explanations. It responds to alignment. The more you elevated, the more their attacks started echoing into nothing. It's not that you're invincible, it's that you stopped meeting them at their vibration. They're still playing spiritual chess, but you've already exited the board. You've reached a level where peace itself became your protection, and silence became your shield. Every projection they sent towards you returned to sender, not as revenge, but as resonance. The universe doesn't punish, it mirrors. When people throw darkness at light, they're really hurling it into the mirror of their own making. That's why their energy began to collapse back on them. Their gossip started isolating them. Their manipulation started exposing them. Their envy started draining them. They underestimated how divine energy operates. It doesn't retaliate, it recalibrates. This is the stage of power where you don't need to block anyone, curse anyone, or explain yourself to anyone. Your energy field does the filtering automatically. It's an invisible firewall that scans intention before it reaches your space. The moment it detects deception or hostility, it dissolves it into neutral energy. That's the reward of spiritual evolution, effortless defense through resonance. You've become so elevated that old tactics now sound like static. They're shouting into a frequency you no longer occupy. You didn't defeat them by fighting, you transcended by vibrating higher. That's why nothing they do seems to touch you anymore. They're still sending shade into a sky where you've already turned into light. Number 5, the game. Shifted from physical to energetic. And you're the only one playing in awareness. You've stepped into a realm where the real battles aren't fought with actions, but with energy. The people trying to bring you down are still relying on manipulation, gossip, and strategy, physical tools that only work in lower frequencies. But you've evolved past that level. You understand that energy precedes everything, every outcome, every connection, every event. While they're moving pieces in the material world, you're rearranging outcomes in the spiritual one. They don't realize that the moment your vibration shifted, the rules of engagement changed entirely. You stopped responding the way you used to. You no longer react to provocations or try to prove points, because you've learned that attention is currency and you don't spend it cheaply anymore. They still believe they can control situations through deceit or competition, but you've learned to direct energy with intention, quietly, precisely, and powerfully. That's the real game. Not fighting harder, but vibrating higher. You're no longer negotiating with circumstances. You're reprogramming them. This new phase of awareness gives you authority in unseen spaces. You feel when something's off before it even happens. You sense people's motives without words being spoken. You redirect outcomes through presence alone. They're working from reaction. You're operating from alignment. That's why their tactics keep missing the mark. They're trying to win a game that already ended the moment you woke up to your energetic nature. In this dimension of mastery, you've learned that control isn't about dominance. It's about coherence. The calmer your energy, the more power it carries. You've become the still point in chaos, the quiet shift that redirects the storm. While they exhaust themselves trying to manipulate appearances, you're influencing the vibration beneath it all. That's why you can't be outplayed anymore. You're not even playing the same sport. You've realized that awareness itself is the ultimate weapon. When you understand how energy moves, nothing surprises you. You know what to release, when to move, and when to let the universe handle what your words never could. That's true power, invisible, precise, and untouchable. They're still arguing over chess pieces, but you've already rewritten the entire board. Number 6, your name is becoming a frequency. They can't stand to hear. Your name carries weight now, not because of fame, but because of frequency. It's energy that announces itself before you even enter a room. The people who once underestimated you can't stand to hear it anymore because it confronts the parts of them that refuse to grow. Your energy doesn't attack, it reveals. And that's why it's uncomfortable for anyone still clinging to pretense or manipulation. Your frequency is like truth in motion. It vibrates so high that anything fake starts to crumble in its presence. They feel uneasy, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your energy mirrors back everything they've tried to hide. That's the real reason for the tension, the distance, the sudden silence when your name comes up. They can't gossip about you without feeling their own spirit recoil. Your growth disrupted the ecosystem of their comfort. You stopped participating in drama, and that withdrawal of energy created an imbalance they can't recalibrate. They depended on your lower version, the one that explained, defended, and absorbed. Now that version no longer exists, and the higher one is too blinding for them to engage. Your energy has become a filter. The ones aligned with truth are drawn closer, and the ones attached to illusion are repelled. That's how vibration works. It doesn't need confrontation. It naturally organizes reality through resonance. You've become a signal that tests authenticity without trying. You don't have to expose people. Your presence does it effortlessly. It's why certain faces shift when you enter, why conversations change when you're mentioned. They feel seen, and not everyone likes being witnessed by someone who can't be deceived. The irony is, the same frequency that disturbs them is the one that's protecting you. The universe made your energy self-cleaning. It repels deception the way fire repels darkness. Your name has become a vibration that clears space before you even show up. That's not arrogance. That's spiritual architecture. You've been refined so much that your very being now carries consequence. The ones who can't stand to hear your name aren't rejecting you. They're reacting to their own unhealed energy that your presence exposes. Your vibration doesn't just enter rooms anymore, it recalibrates them. Number 7, their karma activated the moment they touched your energy field. The moment they decided to tamper with your energy, a universal countdown began. Not out of vengeance, but out of balance. They crossed into a field that wasn't open for manipulation. When someone interferes with a divine assignment, they don't just wrong a person. They interrupt a sacred current designed for purpose. That kind of interference comes with a cost. They thought they were playing games with you, but they were actually negotiating with divine law, a system that never forgets, never rushes, and never misses. The karma they triggered wasn't about punishment. It was about restoration. The universe doesn't operate through petty revenge. It operates through correction. Whatever they projected toward you had to return, not because you demanded it, but because the energetic balance demanded it. You became the mirror through which their own intentions were reflected back. Every lie, every scheme, every hidden hand came with an invisible invoice. And now, life is collecting in ways they can't avoid or explain. The beauty of divine justice is that it moves quietly. You didn't have to announce anything. You didn't need to expose them. You simply kept your energy clean, and that neutrality became the witness that sealed their outcome. Energy records everything. Words, motives, emotions, even silence. And once those frequencies are registered, the universe arranges events that match them. So while they thought they got away with what they did, the truth is The consequences were already scheduled. Now they're learning that touching chosen energy isn't just unwise, it's unsustainable. Your field carries divine codes, and when someone tries to sabotage that, the frequency itself repels and reverses. That's why you didn't have to fight back. Your stillness was the signal that activated justice on your behalf. Their own energy became their undoing. The chaos, the losses, the confusion they're facing are not coincidences. They're reflections. You didn't curse them. Their own actions did. You didn't send anything toward them. You simply stood still long enough for truth to orbit back to its origin. The spiritual system doesn't need your permission to balance itself. It just needed your detachment. And once you stopped engaging, the audit began. Number 8. You've entered the quantum leap phase, where effort is replaced by alignment. You've reached the point where things no longer move through force. They move through flow. You've entered the quantum leap phase, the zone where everything you've been building toward finally starts syncing with divine timing. It's not luck, it's alignment. You've done the inner work, you've cleared the clutter, and now your energy field is so coherent that the universe can respond instantly. You're no longer chasing, you're attracting. You're not manifesting through effort anymore, but through embodiment. What you are internally now dictates what you experience externally. Before this phase, you had to push hard for results. You overworked, overthought, and overgave because you still believed effort equaled worth. But something shifted. You stopped striving and started resonating. You realized that doubt was slowing your manifestation down, that fear was diluting your frequency. Once you released that, the universe began meeting you at the speed of your belief. Now, things that once took months unfold within days because your energy isn't scattered anymore. You're broadcasting a clear signal, and reality is responding in real time. This is the difference between hustle and harmony. You're no longer trying to manipulate outcomes. You're letting alignment handle the logistics. When you're aligned, you don't have to force doors open. They sense your vibration and unlock automatically. That's what frequency fluency means. Understanding that reality isn't reacting to what you say, but to what you are. You've stopped trying to convince the universe to give you what you want and started becoming the energy that attracts it effortlessly. Now, even delays serve you. You no longer panic when things slow down because you trust divine timing more than deadlines. You've realized that manifestation isn't about speed, it's about sequence. Everything comes when your frequency matches it, not when your impatience demands it. And right now, your energy is finally synchronized with your destiny's wavelength. That's why you're seeing sudden shifts, unexpected blessings, and perfect alignments that make no logical sense. It's quantum energy, cause and effect collapsing into one moment. You're no longer creating from effort, you're creating from essence. The struggle era is over. You're not manifesting through pressure anymore. You're manifesting through presence. Number 9, you are no longer reacting, you're orchestrating. You've stepped out of the cycle of reaction and into the realm of orchestration. There was a time when you felt the need to defend, explain, or prove your worth to those who couldn't see it. You thought peace came from being understood. But now you've realized true peace comes from being aligned, not explained. You don't chase understanding anymore because you've outgrown the need for validation. You've learned that every reaction feeds what doesn't deserve your energy, and silence is often the most strategic move in spiritual warfare. You used to respond to every misunderstanding, every rumor, every jab. But now you understand energy so well that you can sense what deserves your attention and what doesn't. You know that not every battle is meant to be fought. Some are meant to be dissolved through awareness. You're no longer reacting to what's thrown at you. You're directing where your power flows. You're playing chess with energy, not emotions. While others are still operating on impulse, you're moving with precision. You don't explain your intentions anymore. You express them through vibration. That's mastery. When you operate from this level, you stop trying to manage perceptions and start managing frequencies. You know that life rearranges itself according to your inner state, so you prioritize your peace over proving a point. You've realized that calm isn't weakness, it's command. When you stay centered, everything else adjusts around you. You've become the quiet force that shifts energy just by existing in alignment. That's what it means to orchestrate. Not to control everything, but to harmonize it. The version of you that used to overreact was living in survival mode. The version of you now lives in awareness. You don't defend your light, you embody it. You don't argue truth, you radiate it. The people who try to provoke you can't reach you anymore because your energy no longer sits at the level of their noise. You've become untouchable, not because you're detached, but because you've learned rhythm. The rhythm of divine timing, energetic flow, and spiritual balance. You're not a responder anymore. You're the composer. Every silence, every choice, every shift in focus, it's all deliberate. You've stopped playing defense and started conducting destiny. Number 10, they're realizing too late. You were never just human opposition. You were a spiritual assignment. They're only now beginning to understand what they were really dealing with. And it's not what they thought. They believed they were opposing a person, someone they could manipulate, silence, or outsmart. But you were never just an individual standing in their way. You were a vessel carrying divine instruction. Every encounter, every clash, every attempt to harm you wasn't just personal. It was spiritual. They weren't fighting your opinions or your presence. They were resisting a divine frequency that was sent to expose what was hidden within them. You didn't come to destroy them. You came to reveal them. Your light was a diagnostic tool, not a weapon. It showed what was festering in the dark corners of their spirit. Their discomfort wasn't really about you. It was about what your energy forced them to confront in themselves. The jealousy, the deception, the manipulation, all of it was a defense mechanism against the truth your presence reflected. You were their mirror, and the reflection was too raw for them to handle. Instead of learning from it, they tried to eliminate the reminder. But divine energy doesn't disappear when resisted. It intensifies. By opposing you, they only accelerated their own lessons. The harder they pushed, the faster the truth surfaced. That's the irony of divine alignment. What they mocked now haunts them. What they dismissed now demands their attention. They thought they were attacking you, but they were actually engaging in a dialogue with their own karma. The energy they sent toward you was simply redirected into their own experience, forcing them to live the lesson they tried to avoid. You've reached a point where you don't need to defend your name or explain your role. The evidence speaks for itself. Life has become their teacher now, and it's repeating every lesson they ignored when it came through you. They're realizing too late that you weren't a random obstacle. You were a divine messenger. And ignoring a message doesn't erase it. It just makes it louder. Now the same truth they resisted is circling back, demanding acknowledgement. You were never their enemy. You were the divine test they failed to recognize. Number 11, your ascension made you unpredictable. And that's what terrifies them most. Your ascension rewrote your entire energetic pattern, and that's what unsettles them most. They can't read you anymore. There was a time when your reactions were predictable. They knew what to say to get under your skin, how to pull you into conflict, how to feed off your attention. But you've evolved beyond that emotional programming. You've become unreadable, and in a world that thrives on control, unpredictability is power. Your silence confuses them. Your peace irritates them. Your detachment dismantles every strategy they had prepared. They can't manipulate what they can't measure. You no longer broadcast emotional signals they can exploit. You don't flinch when provoked. You don't explain when misunderstood. And you don't chase when people withdraw. You've become energetically stealth. That's the highest level of spiritual mastery. When your energy moves in precision, not exposure. They can sense your power, but they can't locate it. You've become a glitch in their system, a variable they can't calculate or predict. This new version of you doesn't need to prove calmness or act unbothered. You are calm because you genuinely don't depend on external validation anymore. You're no longer motivated by reaction, but by resonance. When something doesn't match your peace, you simply disengage. That's terrifying to those who once controlled you through chaos. They need you loud, emotional, and reactive to feel powerful. But your evolution removed their fuel source. You're not playing the same energetic game. You're observing it from above. Your unpredictability isn't about coldness. It's about sovereignty. You've learned that protecting your energy isn't isolation. It's intelligence. You no longer give emotional access to those who haven't earned spiritual respect. And that's what disarms them completely. They can't manipulate your emotions because they can't access your frequency. You've mastered the art of energetic invisibility, still present but untouchable. Now they're realizing that you can't be studied, predicted, or controlled. You move differently because you are different. You've become the variable they didn't account for, the one that breaks every pattern of manipulation. Your unpredictability isn't chaos, it's command. And the truth is, they're not afraid of losing control over you. They're afraid of realizing they never truly had it. Number 12. The universe upgraded your protection without needing your permission. Without you even realizing it, the universe shifted you into a new realm of protection. It didn't ask for your approval because divine upgrades aren't optional. They're necessary. You had reached a stage where your old level of defense could no longer handle the magnitude of your new purpose. So the universe stepped in quietly, upgraded your shield, and changed the frequency of your access. The kind of energy that used to reach you and the gossip, the envy, the silent hostility can't even find your signal anymore. It's like your spiritual IP address has been reassigned, and only the divine has the new code. You've probably noticed it. People can talk, project, or plot, but it just doesn't hit the same anymore. The energy simply doesn't land. It bounces off and returns to its sender, because your field has become too advanced for interference. You don't need to fight or defend yourself like before because your protection now works automatically. It's energetic automation. Your intuition warns you earlier, your peace restores faster, and your discernment filters energy before it even reaches your space. This upgrade didn't come because you were perfect. It came because you were faithful. You kept choosing growth even when misunderstood. You stayed in integrity even when tested. That consistency granted you access to a higher level of divine insurance. You're no longer operating under basic spiritual coverage. You're under divine premium protection. Every time someone tries to disturb your peace, the universe intercepts the energy before it reaches your frequency. You don't need to clap back, block everyone, or explain your boundaries. They're already encrypted into your aura. What's different now is that peace isn't just your goal, it's your fortress. You're being protected in ways you don't even see. From conversations you weren't meant to hear, from opportunities that would have drained you, from people who smile but carry poison. That's not paranoia, that's divine precision. The universe removed your visibility from spaces that could no longer hold your frequency. And the truth is, anyone who wants to reach you now has to match your vibration, because only alignment can access your new coordinates. Number 13, they're watching their own energy return. like a boomerang with teeth. They're starting to experience the very energy they once aimed at you, and it's shocking them because they never thought it would circle back. But energy is cyclical. It always completes its orbit. What they projected didn't vanish. It simply took the long route home, and now it's returning sharper, faster, and stronger, because divine law doesn't return energy in the same measure. It returns it multiplied. That's why it feels like a boomerang with teeth. They thought they escaped accountability, but the universe was simply waiting for perfect alignment before the return delivery. You became the mirror that exposes their own frequency. You didn't curse them, confront them, or wish them harm. You just stayed authentic. And that authenticity became a spiritual catalyst. It forced every mask, lie, and manipulation to reflect back to its source. That's how divine geometry works. Energy travels in patterns, and every intention eventually finds its origin. The universe doesn't punish out of emotion. It balances through precision. The same gossip that once circulated against you is now circling around them. The same chaos they tried to plant in your path has grown roots in their own reality. You didn't have to fight for justice. You became justice by alignment. When your energy is clean, the universe handles what's dirty. Your peace, your silence, and your integrity became spiritual instruments that activated divine reciprocity. Now they're facing what they created, but magnified, because the universe amplifies whatever frequency you insist on broadcasting. They sent you pain. It came back as their confusion. They wished you loss. It returned as their instability. The equation is flawless. The beauty of this balance is that you didn't have to play God. You just had to stand still and let truth handle the choreography. You're not watching revenge, you're watching reflection. And it's not vindictive, it's educational. They're finally learning what energy literacy looks like. Every intention, every action, every vibration is accounted for. You've transcended retaliation, and that's why the universe chose you as the mirror. You didn't strike back. You just reflected. And in that reflection, every hidden motive became visible, every falsehood self-destructed, and every dark energy met itself, face to face. Number 14, the universe didn't just elevate you, it announced you. This level of elevation isn't something you can hide. The universe made sure of that. What's happening around you now isn't random, it's recognition. The ether itself has started responding to your vibration, broadcasting your frequency across unseen dimensions. You've become a spiritual signal, a living declaration that divine timing has arrived. That's why you're seeing strange alignments, sudden opportunities, people appearing out of nowhere to assist you, and doors swinging open without effort. It's not coincidence, it's cosmic confirmation. The universe is announcing that your energy is now fully activated and publicly authorized. For a long time you felt hidden, overlooked, or misunderstood. You wondered why your hard work and pure intentions went unnoticed. But that quiet season was divine incubation. You weren't being ignored, you were being refined. And once that refining was complete, the universe didn't just lift you, it unveiled you. Your name is now being whispered in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your energy precedes your presence because your vibration carries divine endorsement. The ether recognizes you as a frequency beacon, and everything aligned with your mission is being magnetized toward you. What used to require explanation now happens through evidence. People feel drawn to you without knowing why. Opportunities appear without traditional logic. The right situations locate you as if by GPS, because energetically you've been marked. You've reached the phase where your light doesn't ask for permission to be seen. It simply shines, and the cosmos adjusts accordingly. That's divine publicity. Not man-made hype, but universal acknowledgement. The most powerful part of this elevation is how natural it feels. You're not striving or forcing. You're just walking in alignment, and everything else follows the blueprint automatically. The universe is amplifying you, not because you're better than anyone, but because you're finally in full resonance with your assignment. You carry a vibration that commands attention, not through noise, but through presence. The synchronicities, the breakthroughs, the divine encounters, they're all the universe's way of saying, it's your time, and everyone will know. You weren't just elevated, you were announced. The silence of your preparation has become the sound of your revelation. And the truth is, you don't need to introduce yourself anymore. The energy already did. Everything that has unfolded, the isolation, the elevation, the strange shifts in energy, the sudden awakenings, it all led to this moment of divine realization. You've crossed over into the realm of spiritual sovereignty. You're no longer moving through life unconsciously, reacting to chaos or fighting invisible battles. You've become the still point in a storm that no longer has the power to touch you. Every trial was training. Every betrayal was calibration. Every delay was a disguised initiation into mastery. The universe didn't just choose you. It refined you until you became the living frequency of your purpose. Now you're not just walking in power, you're broadcasting it. The same people who tried to block your growth are now watching your energy rewrite the atmosphere. You've become the evidence that divine protection isn't a myth, it's a measurable force. The ether recognizes you, the universe announces you. You're not merely chosen because you're special, you're chosen because your vibration is stable enough to carry divine instruction without distortion. That's what makes you unstoppable. Your energy field has evolved beyond interference. Their weapons backfired because they were built for an older version of you. You stopped fighting battles that no longer exist and started orchestrating outcomes from higher awareness. That's why things that used to take months now unfold in days, because you're no longer negotiating with doubt. The quantum leap wasn't luck. It was divine alignment finally catching up to your readiness. And that readiness made you unshakable, unreadable and unpredictable to anyone still trapped in the old game. You've become the mirror, the message, and the movement. The universe didn't just elevate you, it announced you. Your name now carries frequency. Your presence now carries proof. Those who once underestimated you are realizing too late that you were never their opponent. You were their awakening. Every cycle you closed opened a new gate of authority. And now you walk with a level of spiritual clearance that cannot be revoked. So stand tall in your evolution. Speak less, radiate more. Move like someone who knows the universe works with you, not for you. Your glow is the aftershock of alignment, and your peace is the loudest sermon your enemies will ever hear. If this message resonated deeply with your spirit, if you felt your own truth echoed through these words, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment sharing what part spoke to you the most. Don't forget to share this message with someone who's also awakening to their divine power. Together, we're not just talking about transformation, we're embodying it. Your rise isn't coming, it's already here. Stay blessed always.